a first look at the team that will represent the United States at the upcoming Olympics.
And here's another thing with the pressure defense. You can see the other night against Canada, 16 steals for 27 points. That's their calling card here to win the gold medal as they move towards Sydney.
Alonzo Mourning easily winning the opening tip. And again, in international play, just two officials talking to Eddie F. Rush and Joe DeRosa, who blows the whistle and calls a foul on Ken Johnson. That's an adjustment for those guys because they're used to three in the NBA, and it's not easy with the physical play in international ball.
Well, and also, too, one thing about the select team, Mike, when we watch them practice, they're not really a big team. You see them get beat real on a quick inbounds pass, so Zoe catches the ball twice in the lane and gets fouled. He'll go to the free throw line, and Ken Johnson really is their only big man. He's the leading shot blocker in the NCAA. That's his second foul. You only get 5, so now the United States select coaches Mike Jarvis and Bob Huggins from Cincinnati are probably going to have to go to the bench.
So Mourning will go to the line as the Buckeye, Kenny Johnson, who's a terrific shot blocker, as mentioned. We'll have to be careful a little bit. Mourning has become one of the tri-captains for this team, along with Peyton and Jason Kidd.
You know, Mike, I could see Rudy as this, the Olympics, get here in full swing, as maybe Zoe being a guy that starts in the middle most every game and maybe rotating the 4 other guys, because really he is the power guy that gives them that presence inside more than the other big people.
Alonzo Mourning in just tremendous shape. Here's Joe Forte. Tar Heel rushed the shot. You'll see a lot of that early. The pace is very difficult for the college players. Kidd to Mourning, deflected out of bounds by Battier. But as you said earlier, Doug, it was so much fun to watch the first day of the College All-Stars scrimmage. There was some awe there. There were some struggles, but they just every day got a little bit better as Hardaway puts it in.
Well, the first quarter, the first scrimmage, they didn't score a basket, the select team. They were shut out. And then as the week went along, actually had a chance to win one of the quarters. So you could see them getting more confident and comfortable. A little bit of the awe was left out of the game after that.
That's Richardson, the Michigan State product.
It was an amazing time for me to get called to play on that team, to play against guys like Ray Allen, Vince Carter, Steve Smith, Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Alonzo Mourning. I was like a kid on Christmas Day, going against professional players, the Dream Team 2, and you going out there, or Dream Team 3, my fault. You going out there, you playing, and you basically going out there to see if you could be able to play with these guys, because they're at the level that you want to be at, and you want to go out there and just kind of see where your game is at.
Wide open shots, and that's the thing that college players struggle with, because in many instances there's a continuity offensive pattern, and they're not used to having their guards back to protect against that. You have got to get back.
Battier gets inside and gets it knocked away. Right back, shot won't go. Hardaway the rebound. The United States with their 12 deep roster will look to run and run and run. Scramble for the floor, they turn it over. 3-on-1 the other way. Nice feed from Williams, but Kidd got back and got a piece of the shot. They get some moves from the crowd. McDyess inside. And McDyess is fouled. He will shoot a few.
It always happens. You make a great play on one end and you don't convert, and it seems like you always try to get back and you just can't. We saw that the other night when Raheem was able to finish off an easy play after a missed dunk by one of the Canadian players. Here it's McDyess now getting to the line. You've got to convert on those fast break opportunities, Mike.
McDyess has been kidded quite a bit by his USA teammates on how quiet he is. They say he said about 4 words all week. He's one of the most unassuming, nicest young men in the NBA. They call him because he really has no identity. He hasn't said a word, but he's enjoying every minute of the ribbon. They get the offensive rebound. You could tell the United States the other night against Canada just thrilled to be involved in a game against competition rather than battling each other. As Mourning misses a tough shot. Richardson the board. Carter on the steal. Long 3. Puts it in. Vince Carter, who hit 4 3-pointers the other night.
He was so impressive the other night. We talked about 29 points in 19 minutes on 9 shots. He was 11 of 12 from the line, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line. So now 5 of 7 here early as they're working themselves to get ready for the Olympics. So he's shooting it very well right now.
And not forcing it. It's all coming in the flow, although that was a long-range 3-pointer. Johnson, the quick turnaround. Kidd the rebound, and quickly off to the races. That time the college kids get back. Mourning lost his dribble. Forte And Williams, nice feed back to Richardson. Some flash of their own.
This Joseph Forte really impressed me, Mike, when we were watching practices. He doesn't do anything spectacular. Now, that was a great pass, but he's very smooth, a lot like a Ray Allen or an Allen Houston. I think a little bit better ball handler than those two guys early in their careers.
A very intelligent young player is Mourning. Misfires from outside. Richardson the rebound.
Well, this guy, this Jason Richardson, has got some energy and toughness.
And get caught up in the shake and bake stuff. The college kids a little bit early. Battier. It's a wide open jumper, and Jason Williams knocks it down. The two Duke guys putting a smile on Mike Krzyzewski's face, the Duke coaches in attendance. And the college select team hanging tough early. Carter, that quick first step, lost it. Mourning picks it up, try to force it in there, muscles it back, and draws the foul. So Mourning will go back to the free throw line. But the select team playing well.
Yes, they are. And again, they're in a nice rhythm. The loose ball, Joseph Forte picks it up. A great fast break. Going to take the ball behind his back. And then the over-the-shoulder pass, Jason Richardson with a beautiful finish. So getting out and running at the opportunity. And Joseph Forte will have a seat along with Ken Johnson, who did pick up 2 early fouls.
And just picked up his 3rd on that last play. So Steve Smith comes in, and Jason Kidd sits down.
You know, Mike, what we saw the other night against Canada, and it's something that we need to point out, probably it's the United States strategy. It's going to be probably the first 6 or 7 minutes of the game. Teams are going to stay close, and what they want to do is they want to wear you down with their pressure defense. We saw it the other night, 1-point lead after 7 minutes, and they went on a 16-0 run. They're going to be a team of surges.
They're just one good player after another, and I'd say, in fact, one great player after another that comes at you. So both teams making some substitutions now. Long-range jumper from Jason Richardson. And boy, he's off to an excellent start. He's got 8 points, 3 of 3 from the field. Got deflected out of bounds, so we'll have our first time out. So the United States Olympic team, once again, their defense making a difference.
Well, Vince Carter comes from behind. He squares up a deep 3. That's behind the NBA 3-point line. He buries it. The United States leads by 3. Mike, the thing I like about the selection of some of these young players, you don't get a chance to see Antonio McDyess a lot, of Sharif Abdul-Rahim, some of these younger players. We have some great young players in the NBA. This is a chance for the United States to be able to see these guys before they get back into their NBA seasons.
Yeah, McDyess certainly grew up in a...
It was my second year. I was at Michigan State. We just coming off winning the national championship. You know, playing with guys like Jay Williams, Jamal Tinsley, Corey Buford, Troy Murphy, who ended up being my teammate my first few years in the NBA. Ken Johnson, Shane Battier, Casey Jacobson. I mean, it was just a great group of young talent. You know, those are guys that were pretty much All-Americans going into that season, preseason All-Americans. And I luckily got the call because I played pretty well in the U20 national team. We won a silver medal, and Brazil got the call to go up and play on the select team.
They are game, and they have game for certain. Williams calls out the play. Williams just finished his 1 year at Duke, only going to be a sophomore. It's amazing the poise he has for such a young player.
I really like, too, he's strong. He's got a powerful body. He can get in the lane, get bumped, and still get his shot.
Battier slips and loses the handle. College kids get back on defense. Hardaway, nice feed to Mourning, and the Miami Heat players working well together.
I mean, you can see the big men running the floor. That's your center finishing on the break after a turnover.
Hardaway playing very well. Here's Hardaway earlier this week. Sounded off a little bit about not being signed. He's a free agent right now. Wants to return to Miami, but does not have a contract yet.
Well, Miami really needs him to come back and be healthy. With all the changes on that team, they don't want to have to bring a new point guard in. And I do know they have Anthony Carter, but they need Hardaway to be healthy and play well if they want to win the East.
McDyess falls short, goes right back. And the second effort from Antonio McDyess.
Those second shots will just break your heart. You can play good initial defense, but defense does not stop until you get possession of the ball.
Lead back up to 8 for the Olympic team. Just over 5.5 gone by. Battier's fake. McDyess stays right with him now. Jason Williams on the follow. Oh, there he goes again, Jason Richardson.
He really caught our eye, Mike. You and I were sitting at the practices the other day, and we looked at each other. And you know what? We talked to Gary Payton. That was the guy he probably gave more grief to all week long. And we asked him who was his favorite player, and he said, Jason Richardson. He reminds me of myself.
Offensive foul on Carter as Battier picks up the charge. Every scrimmage they had, Payton was really getting on him, but in a nice initiation type way. And as you see him come in there with the foul.
It's scary. This young guy only averaged 5 points a game for Michigan State. Now, they had a very veteran team, so you expect him to really step up and have a great year. But the timing, the explosiveness, the energy, and he's having some fun.
What was impressive about him, Doug, college All-America, came in as a freshman and just fit in as a role, which sometimes is not easy for the high school stars, and he helped them win a championship. Pass goes through the hands of Terrence Morris. Tinsley gets it back out. Morris, the Maryland star, off the mark. Ball knocked loose. Kidd with the save. Michael Wright from Arizona has come in as well for the select team. Mourning inside.
There's Alonzo Mourning again, just running the floor. Now in Miami, that's what he does. Pat Riley runs his offense. He says on the break, run right to the front of the rim and post up, and we'll try to get you a little quick basket. You've seen 2 in a row now by Zoe.
Bradford hits the 3. Mourning, look at Mourning running the floor down ahead of everyone else, but couldn't control it. Richardson comes up with the ball. Bradford misses that 3. Kidd, maybe the best rebounding point guard we've ever seen, or certainly in the NBA in the last couple of years. Here comes Richardson. Kidd in pursuit. Make sure. Oh, he puts it in. He wanted to make sure it wasn't a spectacular dunk, but he comes up with a circus shot.
And $1 million smile on the face of Jason Richardson. Jason Kidd really hustled back into the play. But you see the upper body strength. A lot of young guys. Now, this guy's just going to be a sophomore, but he's able to concentrate, throw the ball up over his shoulder, and his teammates love it. You can see the smiles and the energy. They are having fun. And, you know, Mike, I remember when I was an Olympian. That was a little different than as an Olympian. I was a college player in '72, and we went around and played NBA teams to get ready to go over to Munich. And when you got an opportunity, I played against Dr. J and some of these guys. What a thrill to find out where you fit in and what you had to do to make it in this league.
Kidd, meanwhile, throws it away, and he is taking full advantage. He's got 12 of the, actually 13 of the 19 points. Remember, he came off the bench at Michigan State. He wasn't a starter a couple of games, maybe.
I think he started 3 games the whole season.
Troy Murphy from Notre Dame has come in. The Olympic squad right now is Jason Kidd, Carter, Mourning, McDyess, and Steve Smith. That's Tinsley, the Iowa State product. Shot clock down to 7. Long 3, too far out for Richardson. Williams blocked by Mourning.
That's the learning process. He can make that play in college, not against Zoe.
McDyess running the floor, draws the foul. Jason Kidd waiting patiently, gets him the pass. And Antonio McDyess will shoot a couple. Well, just over 8 minutes gone by here in the first.
Jason Richardson, as he goes hard to the basket, the good concentration, the finish up over the shoulder. He's off to a great start, and they're within 2 at the 12-minute mark.
Oh, she loses Siak and goes to the basket and draws the foul. There's not enough room to operate. Team USA has it. Taurasi! The U.S. Charles with the fadeaway, and it's good. Here they come. And Elena Deladon for 3. This place will go wild.
Yes.
And it does.
Right on time, Elena Deladon.
And see, that's the great thing. You look at that developmental team. Those guys were able to go back after that experience and say, you know what, we're great college players. But if we're going to play with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Drexler and Pippen and David Robinson and Ewing, these guys, we've got to get bigger, stronger, better awareness of the game. It's the greatest report card you can get when you can play against those people. That just is unbelievable experience.
In some ways, it's a wake-up call. In other ways, it's a confidence builder. Tinsley setting it up once again. Shot clock now down to 11. Again, a 30-second shot clock in international play. It's down to 6. Way off the mark. Terrence Morris And Hardaway pushing it up the other end of the floor. Wide open three. Knocks it down. Now, we were talking about point guards before. I mentioned Jason Kidd. He's one of the best rebounding point guards I've ever seen. He averaged over 7 a game this past season. Who rivals him, or who's some of the great rebounding point guards you remember?
Well, I can remember when I played right at the end of my career, Magic Johnson was a great defensive rebounder. And when your point guard does that and rebounds the ball, you're automatically into a fast break. That's what Kidd does. That's what Magic used to do so well to get their break started.
Bradford on the pull-up, off the mark. Rebound Mourning, knocked out of his hands by Murphy. Olympic team ball. Kidd actually averaged more boards than a majority of centers in the league.
When you watch the game, Mike, it's a subtle little thing, but when your big men run the floor, it forces your guards to cover back, and that's why the guards get so many open shots in transition. That's why Hardaway had that wide open three, because the guards had to cover the big men.
Steve Smith short, McDyess the rebound. Antonio McDyess very impressive early as the Olympic squad now a 7-0 run. There's a turnover.
This is those runs we talked about. They play you even, and pretty soon you look up and it's an 8-0 run. Remember the other night it was a 16-0 run, and it started at the 13:05 mark.
Murphy off the mark. It was a 2-point game just about a minute and a half ago. Hardaway, nice touch pass back to Jason Kidd. Knocked out of his hands. And still USA Olympic team ball. That last beautiful assist, our AT&T connection of the game. Smith, alley-oop from McDyess.
Now, if he would have got that one, that ball almost hit the top of the square.
We're at the midway point of the first half. What's Rudy Tomjanovich, what's his goal for a game like today in terms of what he wants to prepare for?
He wants to keep the defense up. You're stepping in. McDyess right there. You're up 11. He slides over and takes the charge. I thought he made a great point, though. Like, I asked him, what's his biggest challenge? And he said, when we get a big lead, overcoming human nature and not losing your focus. And that's what he's going to have to continually do. And he can do it by rotating fresh guys in there. You know, guys don't want to play, so they want to play well when they're out there so they can get their minutes.
And he rotates those guys now. A number of substitutions. Gary Payton, Kevin Garnett, Allen Houston, Ray Allen, and Vin Baker. 5 new players come in for the first time. This is a group that started the other day. Garnett, pass deflected by Murphy. Richardson lobs it out. There's Jacobson. Murphy. A great shooter from Notre Dame.
That's his game right there. He's a big man who can really shoot the ball. Led the Big East in both rebounding and scoring.
He's had a crowd groaning. They thought the ball touched out of bounds. Troy Murphy's had some trouble dealing with the size and quickness combination of the NBA players this week.
You know, a lot of times when a guy comes in at this time of the year, I wonder how much of it is that maybe you rest a little bit because you played so many minutes during the course of the year and you don't come in great shape. He's one of those guys who always needs to be in great shape to compete at the level with these kind of players.
Ray Allen off the mark. Allen played very, very well in the game against Canada. Carter had a lot of the points, but Allen was superb as well. He had 18 in 18 minutes.
How about this now, Mike? 17 shots by Carter and Ray Allen combined. They scored 47 points. That's almost 3 points per shot. Unheard of.
That's hard to do despite what kind of competition you're playing. Garnett to Payton. Got a little too fancy, and Jason Williams takes advantage. Garnett with a big smile on his face. Battier down the other end. And we're seeing the crowd really start to root for the underdogs here.
It was super competitive. I mean, first of all, you got the two best trash talkers of their time with Kevin Garnett and Gary Payton. And they just gave it to us the whole week in practice. I mean, I think the first practice, I don't think we scored a bucket. I think we had a scrimmage. It was like a 12-minute scrimmage, whatever it was. And I don't think we scored a bucket. And we got back on the bus, and we all looking at each other like, man, we're not ready for this level. And, you know, as the week went on, we got better. We got more confident, leading up into the game. And we came on the game. We was really confident. We just say, we just go out there and just play as hard as we can. These guys are supposed to, you know, beat us really bad, but let's just give them something to get a little bit of pushback because we've been getting, you know, pretty beat up all week long.
There's guys that just do that. They respond and they get into a game and they're just much better players. He's playing very, very well right now.
And he's also one of those guys that you've got to watch over a period of time. You watch him for 5 minutes, you don't really get his intangibles as an illegal screen on Battier. Some of those guys are just, over the course of the season, they impress the heck out of me. United States having some problems turning the ball over, and that's helped the college all-stars. Kevin Garnett, a little too fancy. Payton not expecting it. And Team USA, the Olympic squad, with 9 turnovers. 7.5 remaining first half. It's closer than expected.
You know, an interesting thing there, he said, get hand pressure. Now, remember now with the rules last year, they would not let you put your hands on the dribble in the NBA, so the guys have not been doing that. With the college players, the international game, you can do that, as we see Ray Allen with the great drive. So the United States playing a little differently here under the rules. In the NBA, the game, they will not let you put your hands on the dribbler.
Williams inside. Beautiful move from Jason Williams. But that's one of the reasons, Doug, why they have these pre-Olympic exhibition games, to get used to the different style of play. Payton comes right back but can't finish. 4-point gain. The Olympic squad with their hands full.
Man, I tell you, I really like this Jason Williams. I can see why Coach K is in love with this point guard. He finds players, makes great passes.
Ray Allen right to the hole. Oh, Ray Allen.
Now, see, there's another subtle little rule change, although it wasn't a subtle dunk, but there's that little dotted line, that restricted area in the NBA game where if you're underneath the basket, that's a no call or a block. Here you can see there is none of that, so you can't take that play underneath the basket.
Allen takes advantage and nearly comes up with a steal, and yes, forces the turnover.
You see him just rise right over the top. Ray Allen, such a smooth player. I think this is one of those guys, as the Olympics go on, people are going to say, man, this guy is a great player. I think we know Vince Carter, I think Kevin Garnett, I think Abdul Rahim, those guys are going to really stand out in this international play once they get over to Sydney.
Allen, of course, he's had some quick appearances in the playoffs with the Milwaukee Bucks, but not at any length, and that's really where you make your name. But a lot of the guys on the USA team have said, boy, he's better than we thought. Allen fires away, won't go. Garnett the offensive rebound. Garnett with the high release. Knocked away, battled. Nick Collison can't hold on to it. Collison just checking in, and it's Olympic team ball.
Again, look at Kevin Garnett. This guy's a guy that can play 3 positions out on the floor. He's about 7 feet, 7'1" right now, and is so quick. You've got to keep him off that backboard. He's a tremendous offensive rebounder.
Payton looking to post up Corey Bradford. There's Abdul Rahim, gets inside, and a foul on the pass. The select team in the penalty. In international play, the 8th foul in each half is the penalty. So Abdul Rahim will shoot 2.
Now, you know that Rudy T and his coaching staff have talked to his team and said this is a 6-point game. There's about a little under 6 minutes to go in this half. We want to make our push right now. We want to push this thing, dispirit this team. We don't want them to go into halftime feeling good about where they are as we start this second half.
Abdul Rahim, another one, just like McDyess, quiet young man who we're very honored to be selected. In fact, was a little surprised, but it's a great opportunity for him, as you mentioned, Doug. He hits the free throws, lead back up to 8. Under 6 minutes remaining here in the first half. Garnett with the steal. Allen Houston, wide open 3, knocks it down. It's only 20 feet 6 inches. That's easy for the likes of Allen Houston in his range.
You got to come back to the ball right now. The select team cannot run away from the dribbler. They need some help back there with all this pressure.
Excellent pressure from Garnett. Wright, the lefty. Ball knocked loose, right back out to Bradford. Richardson keeps it going, a 3-pointer. He's got 16 points.
It was like a dream to me. I mean, I think I didn't realize that, I had 19 points in the first half because I was just out there playing with a drill and just finally, making some shots because all week long I was missing. I was working on my jump shot because I didn't really have a jump shot, but I was really working on it hard that summer. And it finally started falling during that game. But it made me realize that I could play at that level. These guys are all-stars. They represent our country. Some of them now Hall of Famers, some of them still going to be in the Hall of Fame. So it gave me a lot of confidence going into, going back to Michigan State, working on my game and going into the season.
3 years at Duke, he's an ultimate winner, and he's hoping here in his senior year they have a great chance to win the NCAA championship before he has to leave Duke.
He's one of those kids, if Coach Mike Krzyzewski had a lab to make up a player. That's what he would make up.
No question, and he is an unbelievable competitor.
Terrific young man as well. Comes up with a loose ball that time. Richardson alley-oop. Almost put in by Collison, but Allen broke it up. Bradford gets it back. Abdul-Rahim wrestles it away.
Say, who are these guys? These are not the guys we scrimmaged against.
Garnett rushed it. Allen another rebound. Ray Allen right back up and in.
6'5", athletic, can do everything out on the floor, so smooth.
Well, they are playing with confidence, the college players. Right, short, Abdul-Rahim the board.
I think you got to give Mike Jarvis and
Garnett! The pass was there.
But I think you got to give Mike Jarvis and Bob Huggins a lot of credit because they knew what kind of pressure they were going to be facing today. And in a short period of time, they put a pretty good press break offense here. Now, the crowd really would love to have seen this going down. KG on the end of a great pass from Payton. He just bangs it too hard off the rim.
Only 19 years old, 6'6".
This is the best perimeter right now of the select team right now when we watch it today. Jason Williams, Forte, and Jason Richardson. They're trying to close this half and stay, again, within the 8-10 points if they can.
Murphy and Terrence Moore still out there. Jason Williams shot well short. Ball knocked loose. And a kick ball. Richardson nearly kept it alive, but Murphy with the incidental kick. There's Mike Jarvis.
See, Mike Jarvis almost went to the NBA this year with Michael Jordan in Washington, and the Clippers were talking to Bob Huggins. So both of these coaches, sort of dallied with talking about coming into the NBA this year. They both chose to stay with their respective teams. Bobby Huggins has had an unbelievable career there at Cincinnati, winning 76% of his games, been to a Final Four and 2 Elite Eights, and Mike Jarvis has been terrific at St. John's the last 2 seasons.
Richardson again from three-point range.
And he's looking over at the bench now, looking for some of the guys there to talk a little bit to. What a show this young guy's putting on. 19 points.
Shooting 4 of 4 from three-point range. Ray Allen off the mark. Forte the rebound. College team looking to break when they have some chances. Morris inside couldn't handle it. Last touch his chin. And it's going to be Olympic team ball with just under 3 remaining here in the first half.
Looks like Coach Tom Izzo's reloading at Michigan State. He's had a great recruiting class. Zach Randolph, a terrific young big guy. Now you throw Jason Richardson, and they're going to be right in the hunt once again.
Baker double team. Allen, Abdul-Rahim shut off nicely. Baker gets it inside to Payton, and Payton's pass not expected by Abdul-Rahim. Williams inside, blocked by Vin Baker. Abdul-Rahim coming the other way. Payton goes right up and in. Baker showing an excellent defensive play. He's been one of the surprises.
Mike, there's what happens, though, when your point guard penetrates like that, somebody's got to stay back, and they didn't, so your guards are buried underneath the basket, and once again you see the breakout by the big guys on the break, or Gary Payton, so somebody's got to protect that backcourt. You know the United States, off every loose ball, the Olympic team is going to attack.
Every opportunity. Murphy with the jumper, that won't go. Houston a rebound. I mentioned Vin Baker, one of the surprises. Now, he's a 4-time All-Star, but he gets a nice feed from Ray Allen. But to say the surprise because he's a guy that's had some problems the last couple of years, and his name, of course, in that big trade that did not go through with the New York Knicks, so it's not been an easy time for him.
It has not. Paul Westphal was here the other night. I think probably do a little damage control, start talking to not only Vin Baker, but Gary Payton, who was also very outspoken. And Vin Baker, a very sensitive guy that you talked about. Westphal said the other night the trade is off. We were going to do the deal if it was a 2-for-1. If we could get Patrick Ewing and sign Maurice Taylor and get a 2-for-1. That could not happen. Vin Baker is going to be with us. As you see the great block there by Baker, and then the run out as Payton gets the layup on the other end of the floor.
So Baker playing well. There's a timeout with 1:43 remaining here in the first half. The lead for the Olympic team is 11. It's obvious the mindset.
Yes, it is. And, these guys are having fun, and this team will take on a personality after being together for a while. We saw the Dream Team. It was sort of almost like a traveling rock show with those stars. This team will carve out its own personality the more time they spend with each other.
Right now an 11-point lead. Minute and a half remaining in the first half. Along with Doug Collins and Craig Sager, Mike Breen on hand here in Honolulu at the University of Hawaii. Joe Forte well off the mark. Battier trying to keep it alive. And they say last touch by Baker.
Again, the subtle little plays of Shane Battier. It's an air ball. He tracks it down in the corner, knocks it off one of the Olympic players' legs. Now they're going to get another possession. If they score here, they keep it under 10. That's how it's important. It's just a psychological thing to keep that lead out of double figures going into half.
This is equaling the largest lead. Several times the college team has come back within 2. Mainly because of this man, Richardson. Not a good shot that time. Ball knocked out of bounds. Olympic squad takes over. Coming up at halftime, Hannah Storm will be back in New York in the studio. And a very special, interesting feature with Alonzo Mourning. Craig Sager had a chance to sit down with him as Mourning prepares for Sydney.
The select team went to a little 2-3 zone on that possession, forced a tough shot, so mixing up the defenses a little bit.
Forte passes up a shot. Battier nails the 3. He was their best three-point shooter last year for the Blue Devils.
He shot 44% from 3. I don't think I would have known that had I not looked through the stats. I knew he was shooting it well, but not that well.
Garnett. Nice feed inside. Abdul Rahim with the adjustment.
When you're playing a zone, you can't let that ball go in the middle. It just breaks your whole defense down. U.S. wants to get the select team would like to get the last shot here if possible. Just that's too quick.
Richardson misses that 3. Wright pushes off a little bit to get the board and goes right in strong. So Michael Wright, a junior, or will be a junior at Arizona, with the nice play.
Kevin Garnett's high school teammate at Farragut.
Ball knocked out of bounds. Wright was a freshman when Garnett was a senior. They've had some fun this week going against each other. 5 seconds remain in the first half.
Now you know they have a set play here that they've worked on. He's probably a Ray Allen or Gary Payton coming off a double screen here, maybe looking for a quick shot or dumping inside, looking for a quick one.
Final seconds. Abdul Rahim takes it to the goal, puts it in at the buzzer. So as they go to the locker rooms at halftime, the 2000 United States men's Olympic team with a 10-point lead over a game group of college all-stars.
Basketball has been a game changer for me.
It's helped me grow as a teammate and a leader.
By establishing standards for youth development, USA Basketball is making a difference for players of all ages.
Through education and training,
They're helping to make the game safer
and more fun. Make sure your child is taught the right way.
Ensure you're the best coach you can be.
To learn more, visit USAB.com or download the USA Basketball mobile app.
Oh, she loses Siak and goes to the basket and draws the foul. There's not enough room to operate. Team USA has it. Taurasi! The U.S. Charles with the fadeaway, and it's good. Here they come. And Elena Deladon for 3. This place will go wild.
Yeah.
And it does.
Right on time, Elena Deladon.
We'll find out in the first 5 minutes here if the select team can hang around or if the United States, the Olympic team, can come out and get that defensive pressure and break this game open. But the first 5 minutes vital here for the select team.
Right now for the Olympic squad, Tim Hardaway, Steve Smith, Antonio McDyess, Alonzo Mourning, who goes crashing to the floor. Ken Johnson and Mourning with a collision, and McDyess, the other player. Mourning obviously okay, and some nice sportsmanship between the two.
That'll be Ken Johnson's 4th foul as he just throws Zoe down. Zoe had gotten into the lane, so Ken Johnson's played less than 5 minutes and has 4 fouls. Guess Mike Dorvis is going to leave him out there and says, I might as well.
Hardaway steps back, off the mark. Battier the rebound. Again, the pressure on this Olympic team, and they feel it in terms of they don't want to just win, they do want to dominate. Ken Johnson comes down and slams it home.
A nice aggressive play there by Shane Battier. He drove the ball to the basket, and as the shot blocker came over, Zoe trying to block the shot, Ken Johnson right there for the tip in. So the aggressive play by Battier, even though he didn't make the shot, set up the tip dunk.
Mourning against Johnson. Pass inside deflected by Forte. Battier comes away with it. Johnson comes up. Terrific aggressive play from this college select team. Forte blocked by McDyess. Carter's pass deflected by Battier.
What a great defensive play by Battier. Saved the dunk there by Zoe. Let's see if the select team can convert.
McDyess again. Two rejections.
That's the difference right there in a college game. You don't see McDyess and Alonzo Mourning back there. This is where the select team has to grow as young players. The great block by McDyess on Forte. And then here's Jason Williams going in, and McDyess once again rakes that one out of there. So two great block shots.
And then the select team turns it over. Vince Carter spinning inside, forces it up, left-handed, banks it in. Pretty move from Vince Carter.
Just looking at his game, I mean, it was something that I wanted to pattern like because he was very athletic, high flyer, and he could shoot the ball at the same time. So it was like, yeah, I'm looking at Vince and seeing like how I can measure my game to his and try to almost duplicate.
McDyess running the floor, blocked with a foul from Battier. There's that same problem you talk about, the college players just not used to this kind of transition.
But see, that's not Shane Battier's fault. He took the jump shot. His man ran at him and ran down the floor, had a step on him. Your guard's got to get back and cover that. That's why you've got to get back and get floor balance. So when the shooter takes the shot in the NBA, players are taking off to get to the other end. College players don't see that. So this is another transition for them.
McDyess missing the first free throw. McDyess talking the other day about as a teenager, he watched the Dream Team on television. That's why being named to this team was such an honor for him. It's the second free throw, 11-point game early here in the second half.
You know, I think there's a lot of people out there that feel like these guys are pros and a little jaded about, playing and things like that. But every one of them to a man talked about what a humbling experience it is to play for their country. I think that was great.
Forte. McDyess rips down another rebound.
Forte's forced some shots today. That's not the same kind of shots we saw him taking earlier in the week. He's pressing to try to score right now.
Mourning down low against Johnson.
Gotta be careful here. He's got 4.
Steve Smith has been quiet here today so far. Ball deflected by Richardson. Makes the save right to Jason Williams. And Jason Williams with authority. But Jason Richardson continues to impress.
Long arms, went after his old Michigan State buddy there, Steve Smith, and got the best of that with a deflection. Nice pass to Jason Williams.
Hardaway, hop step. Forte the rebound. Again, if you had to say the big difference as Richardson misfires between the dominance over Canada the other night and this game is the defense is not as maniacal. McDyess on the fast break, not as maniacal as what we saw.
But I think a lot of that is the fact that you've got some great point guards here who can handle that kind of pressure. Now, the other night, Steve Nash played. But other than that, they didn't have the caliber player of Jason Williams and Forte and Jamal Tinsley and some of the players that we've seen come in the game and handle that basketball. Even the bigger guys, Shane Battier, they can handle the basketball. So a different kind of look.
And you saw the difference in the amount of steals with all the, or at least the better ball handlers.
See, Mike, when they get over to Sydney, you're going to see a team that maybe has 3 guys that can handle the ball if you're playing a good team, and that's the difference.
Oh, Carter!
Oh! That's what they wait to see. Vince Carter, as I said, everybody can go home now. They've seen Vince Carter get the power slam. That's what they see on all the cable shows, all the sports centers, all those kind of things. They now have seen Vince Carter at his best.
You almost, not that you forget what he did this year, but because the Raptors were eliminated so early in the playoffs and because he wasn't an original selection, oh yeah, Vince Carter's on the team. Williams, long three-pointer. Ken Johnson tips it back out. Nice play from Johnson. Johnson with a running hook shot won't go. Vince Carter with a running fast break.
Ken Johnson, a much better defender than offensive player right now. Great pass.
Steve Smith to Carter.
And the explosive power once again of Vince Carter.
Williams blocked by Smith, thrown right back at him. And it's still the select team's ball. But Vince Carter once again showing his prowess.
The highlight package in full effect now, Mike Green. You see Vince Carter there with a follow-up, and he loves it, the energy, the emotion. Antonio McDyess with a follow-up, and there it is once again, another look at the same dunk by Vince Carter. And here's the most recent one, the great penetrating drive, the follow-up, and the strong finish once again by Vince Carter. 2 straight dunks as they push the lead to 15 here with just under 16 minutes to go.
All right, Craig. There's no question, Doug. Everybody wants to play and wants to be on there as much as they possibly can, but they've all so far checked their egos.
Well, you're talking about a 40-minute game instead of a 48-minute NBA game. 12 guys you try to get into rotation instead of maybe 9 if you're an NBA coach. It's a very, very tough thing to juggle. That's why you have to have great cooperation from the players.
Carter comes up with a loose ball, tries to get it to Mourning, but threw it too far ahead.
You know, Mike, as I listen to the guys talk about the dream of becoming an Olympian. Now, these are NBA players talking. I remember in '72, as we see Jason Kidd with the steal, a lazy pass by Terrence Morris. But in '72, after I made the Olympic team, I dreamed about being in the NBA. These guys are in the NBA dreaming about being an Olympian.
Richardson goes right at Alonzo Mourning and draws the foul. He has not backed down from anyone, and the crowd has really come to pick him up as their favorite.
You know, that first practice, you trying to go at these guys. I mean, these guys are making a lot of money. They got the job that you want. It's a dream. You've been watching these guys on TV. They're the best in the world what they do. And so, you know, that whole week was a measuring stick for those guys. I mean, you know, Jay Williams, you know, he took it upon himself to go at Gary Payton, Jason Kidd every time he got. But those two guys from being from Oakland, from the Bay Area, they wasn't allowing that. They was talking junk to him. They was beating them up. I took my opportunity against Vincent and Ray. And, you know, I think every guy looked at somebody that was at their position and measured them and see where their game was at and went back to their schools and worked on their crowds so one day they could play at that level.
That's inside. So, you know, we talk about how young the NBA players are today, leaving school early. Look how young the select team is. Everything is getting younger, and I think it's the experience and the strength that would be a major difference.
And, of course, when you get into international ball with the different rules and the different referees, as you certainly well know from your '72 experience, you never know what can happen.
Well, you see Vince Carter underneath the basket again. It's that first 5 minutes, and look what's happened with the lead. Now, they played 5.5 minutes. It's gone 10-20. That's the difference. That's what the Olympic team can do. They can lock you down, and that's what they're doing right now. They're on a 12-1 run.
Williams tied up, and again, defense has been the key. Morris fires away, puts it in. Terrence Morris, who will be entering his senior year at Maryland. Kid rifle pass, Mourning couldn't handle it, and a turnover. Vin Baker reports back in for the United States, and Mourning will sit down.
See, Mike, I also think that, you know, it's not so much how many minutes you play. I think one of the things that's hard, once you've been in the NBA a while and you've played a while, when you sit after warming up, you get really stiff, and then you come out and you got to get going. I think that's the hardest thing to do.
Especially because all of these guys are, you know, the stars on their team pretty much, and they're just not used to it. It's a huge adjustment.
And let me tell you something, when you've played 100-plus NBA games, you're no longer can just jump right up and play. You got sore ankles, sore knees, as we see Vince Carter once again in the post. But all of a sudden, that body starts to ache a little bit from the pounding that you get during an NBA season.
Carter, meanwhile, 10 of his 14 here in the second half. He's 6 of 6 from the field as they call a foul on Steve Smith next Saturday as they get ready for Sydney. It's less than 2 weeks away, the opening ceremonies. Garnett, an easy steal. 2-on-1 break, Kidd. And Carter!
Vince Carter! Lenny Wilkins is here, and he's smiling. Every time I talk to Lenny, his smile keeps getting bigger and bigger the more he sees of Vince Carter.
Carter's new head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Bradford off the mark. Garnett, good rebound in traffic. And the Olympic team now starting to flex their muscles here in the second half. Up by 21. Garnett inside. Tough angle shot.
Pride is an amazing thing, isn't it? They went in even with a 10-point lead at halftime. The Olympic team knew that they had not played well. They go in, they challenge each other. A 10-point lead goes to 23, and we played less than 8 minutes here, Michael, in the second half.
And here's our AT&T connection of the game.
And what a connection. That is a long-distance, altitude-wise connection.
An 18-4 run by the USA Olympic team.
This is
perfect fast break.
Mike, this is when they're at their best, right here, running, playing loose and free, and having some fun.
Oh, she loses Siak and goes to the basket and draws the foul. There's not enough room to operate. Team USA has it. Taurasi! The U.S. Charles with the fadeaway, and it's good. Here they come. And Elena Delagon for three. This place will go wild. And does.
Right on time, Elena Deladon.
And is getting better and better every time he steps foot on the floor. That's what you'd like to see in a young player.
Again, not an original selection. He was placed on the team after Tom Gugliotta had to step aside with his injury. And he's now the youngest member of the team. Only 23 years old. That's Corey Bradford, who's back in. Bradford will be a junior at Illinois. Morris makes his move, kicks it out. Murphy with the open jumper, doesn't miss a lot of those.
That's what he does. He steps up and makes that shot. But give a lot of credit to Terrence Morris. He's had a very subpar game here, has not been involved, but he makes a nice penetrating dribble and gets Troy Murphy a wide open jumper.
Gary Payton back in the game, along with Garnett, Smith, Baker, and Jason Kidd. Alley-oop to Baker, broken up nicely by Morris, knocked it out of bounds. And still Olympic team ball as Allen Houston will come back in for the Olympic team, and Shane Battier for the college All-Stars. Houston, of course, coming off one of his best seasons in the NBA, his first All-Star appearance with the Knicks. Payton throws it away. Just over 8 minutes gone by here in the second half. The United States pulling away a bit, up by 21 after the college team hung with them for a little over a half.
Look where they're pushed out here, too. They just keep further and further away. That's what defensive pressure will do. That clock is down, and they're still at half court.
Richardson kicks it back out. Bradford 2 on the shot clock. Three-pointer won't go. Garnett tips it right to Payton. Payton with a fancy pass to Kidd. The childhood buddies connecting. Kidd on the double team, and Houston as well. Back pass for Payton. Stripped by Battier. Payton tried to get it back. And it's going to be the college ball.
So one of these things these guards find out is you cannot be careless or lazy with that ball. Corey Bradford, more of a two guard at Illinois, great shooter, but down here handling the ball, and they just swarmed him, and he coughed it up. So you see Tinsley in the game right now. He's going to make sure he handles the basketball. The United States has really turned up the heat, the Olympic team, pressure-wise, and they've turned this game around, Mike, with their defense. You don't see any of those open three-point shots anymore, although here's one for Morris that, that he's able to. Now, is that a three or a two?
A three-pointer for Terrence Morris.
That was a.
You can touch the ball above the cylinder, but you can't put your hand through the rim like that as Baker trying to knock it out. Nice touch pass, Kevin Garnett.
Well, the select team went again to that 2-3 zone defense. You get right to the free throw line. You present a big man there. Nice pass from inside for the layup, and that's exactly what you do, attack the middle of that zone.
Richardson misfires. Richardson, who had that big first half, 19 points, only has a point here in the second half. Garnett double team, gets it out. Houston spotting up for three.
I tell you what, I'd love to play with Jason Kidd. That guy will get a shooter wide open shots. No hesitation. Mike, he had an open shot. He swung it to Allen Houston, and that's what you have to do as a point guard. What a great play.
I think there are 11 Olympians who will say that by the time this is all over. I would love to play with this guy. Morris, three-pointer won't go. Tipped right back out to him. Just past the midway point. The Olympic team with their largest lead, a 25-point advantage. Now, this is my first time attending a basketball game in Hawaii as Battier misses. Crowd goes through some real lulls with it. It's very quiet. Baker inside puts it in.
Well, see what's happened, too. The edge has been taken off the game right now. It's a 27-point game. They were sort of hoping the select team could hang around, but I knew the pride coming out of that Olympic team locker room at halftime when Rudy T was talking about his players and what they were saying. I guarantee you they were getting after each a little bit about being embarrassed. Not taking anything away from the select team, but they just didn't have that same edge.
Morris against Garnett. Quick move won't go. Garnett nearly tips it in. Battier gets it back. Blocked by Garnett. Pass deflected by Richardson. Payton to Kidd. Kidd trying to draw the foul. Does. Shot won't go. But he'll shoot a couple. With 8:47 remaining. They've had it going here in the second half.
Team USA, Gary Payton with a nice little lob, a little scissor kick by Ben Baker, couple Sonics hooking up there, and then this is Terrence Morris with that little toilet bowl three. It's touched on the rim, but he finally gets it to go.
A lovely way to describe.
A little round and around and around.
Kidd able to knock it down. Kidd, of course, who broke his ankle tail end of the season, came back and helped them defeat the Spurs in the first round of the playoffs. NBA's assist leader last couple of years.
He came back from an ankle surgery. They put pins in his ankle. He played in 5 weeks. And, you know, he wasn't right in the playoffs. You could see he had some tendonitis, but he gutted it out. Played pretty well, but now he says he's healthy once again after a little rest.
Never entered his mind, according to Kidd, that he wouldn't come back and play. Baker on the rejection of Tinsley.
Remember in our open we showed the practice sessions, and guys have to learn now. When you drive in there, this happened to me at practice. We saw Tinsley drive in there and McDyess get it. This time it's Baker. No finger rolls against the Olympic team. Mike, you got to go strong, and that's what these young guys are finding out. That's how they learn. That's why it's so important to the development of their careers.
And there are very few college players who are going to reject those as Abdul Rahim gets it. Quick outlet to Baker, stolen nicely by Tinsley. Morris, not hesitant to shoot it, puts in the two-pointer.
Now, one of the things that Rudy T does not want to have happen is for them to get a lead and get sloppy. They've played exceptionally well for about a 12-minute stretch, finished the game off.
They were up by over 30 much of the second half against Canada as Ray Allen knocks down the three. That on Thursday night. And now up by 30 against the college team. Jacobson misses. Battier right there.
Great effort play by Shane Battier. He has struggled with his shooting today. He has not shot the ball well. He's been much more aggressive, though, on the offensive end than we saw him in the practice sessions.
Houston long on that three. Tinsley will come the other way. 7.5 left here in the second half. As you said, though, the way the college All-Stars did not back down, came right at him. Certainly this was good experience for the Olympic team as well as these young kids.
That helps the Olympic team. You want to have competition. As we see Terrence Morris start to heat it up. He's hit 3 threes here in about the last 3 minutes. But you want competition. That's the way you get an edge. If you just walk out on the floor and beat everybody easily, you know, it's tough to develop your team.
Blocked by Morris, but a foul as Houston fed Baker. And Baker will shoot a few. And you can bet a lot of these college select teams, they want to be on the Olympic team down the road.
Well, Ray Allen spotting up and shooting the three. You go to a 2-3 zone, you put 3 shooters in, and you bust it. That's why you have the versatility.
And right from the beginning when they arrived, Payton has become the leader of this squad. Him and his teammate from Seattle, whether or not Baker plays for Seattle this year, still remains to be seen. In fact, it's ironic how you have 2 of your Olympians with Vin Baker and Tim Hardaway that don't know exactly who they're going to play for when this is all over. And camp starts soon as they get back, Doug.
Yeah, it does. I expect him to be with Seattle. I just think that they had talked about, we'd said we see Ray Allen getting the time role, but when Paul Westphal talked the other day, he said when they were going to do that deal, it was a 2-for-1 deal. It was going to be Patrick Ewing and signing Maurice Taylor. Maurice Taylor has signed to go with Rudy T in Houston, so he said that deal's off. So I expect Ben Baker to be there, and they're going to need this next 40 days before he comes back and gets in training camp, especially he and Gary Payton, to get them excited to go back to Seattle and be ready to perform.
Everybody's different in how they handle, first off, just hearing their name in trade rumors, and his was almost done, that deal, as they forced another turnover. Houston, that's a 2-pointer for Allen Houston.
These players are so great. When you give a guy an open shot like that, Mike, and you've seen it, you just expect it to go in.
Jacobson gets around. Baker tried to get it. So Casey Jacobson, who will be a sophomore at Stanford, Pac-10 Freshman of the Year this past season. So they wanted Jacobson at Duke. Mike Krzyzewski
Yes.
recruited him.
Well, he and Mike Dunleavy Jr. were the two guys that Coach K had recruited. They were both interested in Stanford and Duke. Casey Jacobson went to Stanford, and Michael Dunleavy Jr. went to Duke. So both of them ended up in great places and have become great young players.
Things working out well for both teams, both schools. Lead now up to 32. This is the largest of the game with 5:20 remaining. This U.S. Olympic team, they will fly to Japan tomorrow for those 2 games. As the backcourt violation goes, more substitutions. Rudy Tomjanovich sending in Antonio McDyess, Vince Carter, and Tim Hardaway.
If there's one thing that I hope young players are watching out there, both female and male, is that you can't make one-handed passes off the dribble. And Mike, you'll see so many turnovers where guys dribbling the basketball, and he or she tries to pass off the dribble with one hand. If any defensive pressure, you can't pull that ball back, and it's a turnover. Put 2 hands on the ball and make crisp passes. I've seen about 6 or 8 of those today here.
And fundamentals make all the difference. Abdur-Rahim, Tim Hardaway with a nice entry pass. 34-point lead now with under 5 minutes remaining. See, now again, you think, boy, it's hard for them to keep the energy up. With 3 of these guys, they've been on the bench for a while. It's now their time to shine. So they want to keep pouring it on as Battier is fouled by McDyess.
When you get out there, you've got to prepare yourself. As you're sitting on the bench, start getting an idea. You'll get a feel of when Rudy makes his substitutions, and you'll start getting yourself ready. If it means putting heat packs on or getting up and walking around, doing whatever you have to do, so when you go in there, you're ready to play. Because the last thing you want to do is go in there and maybe pull a muscle. And again, Rudy T is so sensitive to working with these players. I mean, we've seen it in practice, Mike, the way he worked with them. Shane Battier misses a free throw, but making sure they got stretched. After they played the other day and traveled, he cut back the practice schedule. He realizes the commitment these players are giving him, and he wants to keep them as fresh as possible.
Players have enjoyed so far their time with him. Tomjanovich, who is finishing up his 30th year with the Houston Rockets franchise as a player, a scout, assistant coach. Peyton knocked in the head by Ken Johnson.
Guess who the foul's on? Yeah. Poor Ken Johnson's got a sign on that says, "I foul today," I think.
That is his 5th, and he is fouled out again in international play. 5 fouls and you're disqualified, 1 less than the NBA.
So set play coming out of a timeout. It's a little sideline screen, and McDyess is going to the front of the rim for the dunk, and Ken Johnson's just a little slow in the rotation. You've got to remember now, as long as he is and as well as he can jump, Antonio McDyess, one of the best leapers in the NBA, you've got to get there 1 step sooner. Again, a part of the learning process. In the NBA, you play defense a little bit ahead, not from behind. You're a little step slow, you're going to get the foul.
Johnson fouling out in 8 minutes. Alley-oop for Ray Allen. Oh, terrific adjustment from Ray Allen.
I tell you what, I would love to be able to have Ray Allen on one wing and Vince Carter on the other with either Peyton or Kidd coming down the floor. I think I'd be a good coach for that team.
Jacobson picks it up. 35-point lead. Collison well short. McDyess and Hardaway finally get together. Abdur-Rahim, he's a good 3-point shooter, knocks it down.
I mean, here's a guy who's hardly played much today. He comes in and he hits the shot. That's what you got to do. Get in there and produce. And that's a big chance for Abdur-Rahim to play. People don't see him play much out there in Vancouver, and he is a great player.
He's hit all 4 of his shots. The Olympic team has hit 62% from the field. Battier tries to get it inside. Nice save from McDyess. Despite the big lead, the United States still playing very tough defense. Ray Allen.
Looked like McDyess had one there for a dunk. Just mistimed it.
Collison. Williams hits the 3. Jason Williams, one of the impressive things about him at Duke, he really wasn't a point guard when he came to Duke and had to make the adjustment. Boy, did he make it ever. As Collison comes down with a rebound.
Well, Coach K does a lot of pro-style stuff. He runs a lot of screen roll, doesn't run a lot of continuity offense. So these players, he's used to playing screen roll at the top of the floor on the wing. You can see Nick Collison putting a smile on Roy Williams' face there with a nice follow. Going to be a sophomore at the University of Kansas. But, a lot of coaches play continuity in college. Some play the pro-style offense. And Duke is much of an up-tempo. They get stuff off their defense, a lot of running, a lot of open court. Tailor-made for the NBA game.
Good ball movement. Carter gets inside. Knocked out of his hands by Murphy. Williams to Jacobson. And one of the rare times that you see the college kids beat the Olympic team down the floor. Under 2.5 remaining. The exhibition tour continuing as Carter draws the foul. He'll shoot a couple. And more substitutions as we'll have a timeout on the floor.
The subtleties of running a little play. Here's Ray Allen, a little fake in the reverse, and he's going to get the slam dunk. You set the man up. You think he's going off the screen. You give him a little push, the nice pass, little kiss off the glass. It'll misdirection. If you want to come back to the left, set your man up, go right. Nice pass by Hardaway. Great finish by Ray Allen.
And the oldest. She was 20 when she got her first gold medal. She was 32 back in Atlanta. She can add to her oldest record if the women win in Sydney. A real legend in the women's basketball game. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining. The alley-oop attempt for Richardson. Carter quickly down the other end.
You know, the amazing thing about Vince Carter is he explodes, but how quickly he gets in the air. He's like a rocket that's taking off.
He has made it fun despite a 34-point lead. Battier trying to get inside. Jason Williams knocks down the three.
You think the Olympic team has made a commitment in this second half to get a handle on Jason Richardson? He has been rather quiet after explosive first half. He has only 1 point.
He had the 19 in the first half. Minute and a half remaining. Williams with the steal, trying to get it to Richardson, and turns it over.
That's where Coach K will tell him when he gets back, get possession of the ball, make the simple play. As Vince Carter explodes once again, he takes that ball down to his waist, a little tomahawk dunk. Sometimes he does things so quickly you don't even know all the stuff that's in his dunk.
Jason Williams puts it in. That one, that dunk from Carter, a little reminiscent of the All-Star.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You do those slam dunk competitions I've done before, and you don't realize how good they are till you see them in slow motion and all the little twists and turns that these guys can do while they're in the air.
Now, when you say you've done before, do you mean performing?
I have never done them. I have been. I tell you what, though, I was a good alley-oop passer to Dr. J. I knew where to throw it.
Absolutely. 1:06 remaining, and he'll jump it up. The college All-Stars done a nice job in terms of, for a while they hung in there. They played well, played tough, but obviously outmanned. And it was a good experience for the Olympic team as well to be in a tight game and then just to say, okay, let's get down to business.
No question. And now they're heading back to school, and October 15th or 14th, they'll start their first practices. So whereas the United States will continue on the Olympic team to get prepared for Sydney, these guys will all go back and get back into school and try to combine the books and the basketball, and they all want to get to that Final Four and win a national championship. And there's 2 or 3 guys out here who I think have great chance. You know, Michael Wright with Arizona, they're going to be playing on one of the better teams. Duke is always going to be there. So some of these guys, maybe Michigan State with Richardson. So
Joe Forte in Carolina.
Joe Forte of Carolina. So a lot of these guys, Kansas and Collison, you go right down the list that they want to win the NCAA championship. As the United States Olympic team is going for the gold, they're going to go home and try to win that coveted NCAA trophy.
Ray Allen hitting the first 2, was fouled on the 3-point attempt. Like in the NBA, when you're fouled, you get the 3 shots from the line. Final minute in what is another blowout victory. There'll be a lot of them, both in the pre-Olympic tour and in the Olympic Games. Again, the men, the heavily favorite, not just to win, but to dominate. McDyess's outlet pass deflected. Yugoslavia, though, Russia and Australia, some of the men's team that hoping for medal in Sydney. Whereas the women, as we saw earlier, they will have a tough battle. Carter looking up at the shot clock. Decides on the 3, knocks it down.
See, that's illegal. That's illegal. For a guy to be able to play around the basket and then have that kind of touch. Mike, the guy shot 40% from behind the 3-point line, the NBA 3-point line this year.
Williams off the mark, gets the tip right back to him. Shot clock is turned off. Forte for 3.
Joseph Forte's had a miserable afternoon. He's a much better player than this.
Crowd wants another Carter alley-up, and they get it.
Vince Carter. Wow. I'd like to be able to do that once.
Oh, she loses Siak and goes to the basket and draws the foul. There's not enough room to operate. Team USA has it. Taurasi! The U.S. Charles with the fadeaway, and it's good. Here they come. And Elena Deladon for three. This place will go wild.